Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. This right here has been heralded as one of the best cheap fragrances of all time. Nautica Voyage has long been hyped as one of those scents that you can pick up for next to nothing, that's gonna give you decent performance, great versatility, compliment factor, the whole 9 yards. And at the same time, this is one of the most dunked on cheap hype fragrances of all time. Just as many people like to say, oh yeah, Voyage, it sucks, it's weak, it's pathetic, it's junk. We're not talking about the original today, at least not entirely. We're talking about this, its newest child, Nautica Voyage Intense. Yeah, they went with Intense instead of Elixir. Nautica, you could have named this Elixir and you could have charged like $50, dude. Massive money. This one right here just dropped on Amazon and also Nautica's website. As of this video, it's not available at discounters just yet, and it's gonna run you basically the most that it's ever going to run you in the entirety of the fragrance's lifespan, $40. At least that's what I paid for it. Though, like I just said, it's not hit discounters yet, and when it does, it'll be less. I'll have this one linked in the description below along with the original Voyage. Let's go ahead and take a look at the paper thin presentation and then jump into how it smells and whether or not it's better than its papa. First off the box, like I said, paper thin. You have on the front Nautica Voyage Intense. It is an eau de toilette, 50 mils. So even though this isn't intense, Nautica said, nah, we're not bringing that up to an eau de parfum. No thanks, we're keeping it cheap. Nothing up top, nothing on the sides other than the little Nautica logo on one side. On the back, you have your ingredient information, and then on the bottom, your badge code and barcode. My badge code, a very simple 5143. And here's the bottle, your typical Nautica Voyage styling, and they did indeed go cheap with this as well, because they basically just slap a little sticker on the front and just call it a day. Now you might think that's rude to say that they're really cheaping out here by just slapping a sticker on the front, but look at some of the bottles from the past. Each one of them has a different design. Nautica Heritage here, Nautica Voyage in 83, Nautica Voyage Sport, and each one of those comes with a different colored cap as well. It's the attention to detail that matters. And the cap color of Nautica Voyage Intense, it doesn't have one. On the bottom, you have a sticker with your badge code. The cap slides into place, and it is a plastic cap. Now at this point, all of the Nautica Voyage bottles have plastic caps, but way back when, they used to be metal. Bummer, cost-cutting measures. All right, let's go ahead and share a couple sprays. Here we go. Nautica Voyage Intense, actually a really good atomizer, and we'll do a couple sprays of the original one as well, which actually has a worse atomizer. So that's one spot where it has improved. The note breakdown on Nautica Voyage Intense is pretty simple. In typical fashion nowadays, most fragrances have somewhere between 3 and 5 notes, and that's pretty much what's going on here. It has green apple, smoky leather, marine notes, vetiver musk, and sandalwood. Now before we jump headfirst into the comparison between the original Voyage and Voyage Intense, and I'll let you know how good or bad this one is, here are some codes you guys can use across a bunch of different websites. So we have a ton of different codes here. We've got Gift Express, we have the Perfume Box, many others, so use those codes anytime you shop at those sites to save yourself some money. Now when you first spray on Nautica Voyage Intense, you're gonna get hit with a clean and familiar blast of fragrance that's going to remind you very much of the original Nautica Voyage. You have that faintly crisp green apple note right off the top, which of course a lot of people are going to remember that from the original Voyage. And that's layered over a somewhat salty marine freshness. Now, even though there is quite a similarity between these two fragrances off the top, Nautica Voyage Intense does come across, as you would expect, a little bit heavier compared to the original, and it has a little more depth as well. So whereas the original Nautica Voyage, you get some of this almost like floral clean freshness when you first spray it on, the Intense version has more of a minerality going on. So you have this kind of cool minerality that just hums along underneath those top notes when you first spray this one on. Now, even though it's a listed note, it's not smoky leather. Because when you hear that, you're thinking about something really heavy, you know, fall, winter time, maybe dosed in incense or something like that. That's not really what's going on here. Think more ocean washed stone or, water flowing over slate. Very vaguely reminiscent of like a Ganymede sort of suede note. That's kind of how the leather comes across, not smoky leather. But don't take that as me saying that Voyage Intense is Ganymede. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that sort of mineral leather. It's in that wheelhouse, just basically thrown into the Voyage style, the Voyage DNA, basically. So yeah, it doesn't open up like something earth-shattering, not anything really new, but it works. It's effortlessly wearable, it's intensely likable, it's just easy going. As the fragrance dries down, that apple fades away and you get this subtle sweetness that starts to creep up and become more prominent. You do get a soft, aquatic-esque floral kind of vibe that comes out, which in the original is going to be lotus, and you get something kind of similar to that in Voyage Intense. Again, just kind of bringing it in with the original. And it does start to drift a little bit into that classic fresh shower gel meets fabric softener kind of vibe. And the leather through the mid, more texture than presence. So it's not something that's really, at the forefront of the fragrance. It's not really screaming, it's not really making itself known. It's just that, like I said with the opening, sort of minerally suede. And then the vetiver that's in here, it starts to come out in the mid, and it's a little bit more green, woody, still definitely clean. You're not getting anything here that comes across grassy or overly smoky or anything. And not really an earthy vetiver either. Because when you say vetiver, sometimes people start to think that it's gonna come across, dirty, earthy, like soil or dry grass or something like that. Instead, it's just a very neutral, like I said, green, woody kind of vetiver that adds just a little additional depth to the fragrance, a little extra push as it dries down. And into the dry down, Voyage Intense still keeps true to its DNA. Clean, lightly musky, subtly sweet, fresh, easy to wear. You still have that fizzy white musk in the dry down, neutral woods. Again, nothing truly smoky here. That's not something that you're gonna pick up even into the dry down. You would think maybe as it dries that it's gonna become more smoky, whether we're talking incense or burned wood or something like that, but it never really comes out. And that minerality, that aquatic mineral freshness, that marine note, it lingers through into the dry down as well. So at the end of the day, Voyage Intense is sort of what you would expect. It's not completely reinventing what's going on with the original Voyage. Instead, it has a slightly deeper base, maybe a little bit more modern, a little bit more contemporary, how it comes across, how it's built, with longer legs and maybe a slightly more grown up structure to the fragrance. That's what's going on here. And one of the things that people have really piled on the original Voyage about, especially as time has gone on, is the performance. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think you can judge it that harshly because A, it's freaking cheap. It's like dirt cheap. At one point, this was at every single TJ Maxx, Ross, and Marshalls in the United States for like 15 bucks. So you can't judge it that harshly, I feel like, because you're getting an entire fragrance presentation and everything, and it's actually wearable at that price. So, and then B, I completely forgot what point A was. B, it was hyped, it was all over the place, and it just became like low-hanging fruit. Kind of one of those things where you're like, well, I really gotta crap on something because I gotta get this cred up. What's something that's been talked about that people like, but that doesn't have like a hardcore following? I got it. So low-hanging fruit, easy to crap on for sure. But I will say, to be fair to people that have crapped on this one, the earlier iterations that had like the metallic cap here are generally regarded to have better performance overall than the newer bottles that are gonna come with the plastic cap. So there is that. So bad performance, hyped to death. A lot of people will pin that on the original one right here. Does the Intense version fix that? Well, in terms of performance, yes, the Intense version, surprise, is better than the original. It lasts longer, it has a bit more projection to it. Is it a monster? No, it's not. But for a clean, cheap, aquatic fragrance, I would say it's a little bit above average, a little more than you would expect for a fragrance that's this inexpensive and will be cheaper as time goes on. And of course, with this one being an aquatic, fresh fragrance, it's better suited for spring and summer, which I'm sure pretty much everybody already knew. That being said, the additional depth, the additional little push that this one has compared to the original does give it more versatility. So you could wear this through fall if you wanted to, and potentially also, during the evening in fall. Or better to say, cool evenings. Not frigid evenings, but when it's cool outside, this can still work really well. And just like the original Voyage outside of wintertime, this is about as versatile as you're gonna get. Like, this is just that type of fragrance that, yes, when you smell it, if you've smelled a ton of things, you'll say, it's a little generic, a little boring, it's been done, it's borrowing ideas that have already been set in stone for years. All that's true. But it has that versatility. It has that ease of use, because when people smell it, they like it. So if we're talking gym use, obviously it's gonna work there. Errands, the office, casually, around town, whatever, it'll work. It's fresh, it's non-offensive. Oh, and one thing I should have pointed out earlier as well, it is ever so slightly a deeper shade of blue compared to the original. So that's how you can tell it's more intense, because the blue is very slightly more blue. So Nautica Voyage Intense. This is a low risk, high utility, fresh cheapie. That's essentially how you need to think of it. It's not flashy. It's not the type of thing that's probably gonna blow anybody's mind, but it will get you through the day and get you through pretty much any situation, smelling clean, smelling put together, and in general, just smelling likable. It's that type of fragrance. It's almost like the slightly better dressed cousin of the original Nautica Voyage that's been working out just a little bit more. So if you can pick this up for what Voyage fragrances usually go for, it's gonna be a great, inexpensive daily driver that you don't have to think about, that you can spray on heavily and just go on with your day, because you know that you can pick up another bottle for like $25 or whatever when yours runs out. Again, talking about when it actually hits discounters. It's not really made for a fragrance aficionado or a fragrance snob. It's made for somebody who wants to spend as little as possible and smell as likable as possible. That's pretty much it, and it does that really well. And actually, compared to all of these flankers that I showed you the better looking bottles of, this is probably the best one of the bunch. So there it is, Nautica Voyage Intense. Cheaped out on a few things here, but the fragrance itself smells really nice, if simple. If you have hung with me here until the end, thank you so much. Stay safe out there, guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.